All right. So, like I said earlier, Goodness Akinola, I'm the rep for Yorkville University. Yorkville University is situated in Canada. So, I'll be taking us through some things we need to know about Yorkville University. So, Yorkville University, our motto is transform your life through education. Transform your life through education. Just to confirm, can everyone see my screen? Could just give me a thumbs up, give me any emoji just to make me know we're on the same page, that we all can see my screen. Thank you. All right. So why Canada still wins? I keep asking this question on most platforms where I get to talk. I keep asking them, why do you think Canada still wins? And the first thing is the fact that Canada has very affordable living condition compared to other study destinations. So the living expenses for international students is much more favorable compared to other study destinations. Canada over time has a very strong economy. So Canada's economy is stable, it has a growing economy. So despite whatever is happening in any other destination, Canada's economy keeps growing. And for the economy to keep growing, that in essence means that students get ample job opportunities. And also, Canada is a multicultural society. I always tell people, if you're looking for a particular study destination where you term home away from home for international students, then Canada is the best place, because Canadians are very warm set of people. They are friendly, they are so welcoming. You can be walking on the street of Canada and the Canadian sees you, probably you're looking lost, trying to find your way around, and they give you this very welcoming smile. There's this very welcoming smile they give to you, just say, okay, don't worry, you are safe, feel at home. So they have this multicultural society thing going for them. So Canada is actually a very good place to be in. Now, back to Yorkville University. Yorkville University. Why Yorkville University? Now, in Yorkville University, we have very flexible learning option for our students. So students can decide how they want their learning procedure to be. Do they want it online? Do they want it on site? So we allow students to undergo national students who actually need work-life balance. So we try to give that to them as much as possible. Then our undergraduate program, for example, is accelerated. So it's a 4-year degree program, but students will be able to finish up within 2.5 years. So we kind of help students to fast track it. So it's a way of saying, instead of spending 4 full years on campus, you can just do 2.5 years and you're done. So we've compressed everything they need to do within 4 years. We compress it for them to 2.5 years. They have assignments, you have projects, you have on-site, online classes, just to make sure you finish up within 2.5. So every other thing remains the same, but just you finishing within 2.5 years. Then we have all year round start dates for our students. We have all year round start dates for our students. So for the master's program, for example, we have January, May, and September, while for the undergraduate program, we have January, April, and October. So it's a way of saying, if students are not able to meet up, probably they applied for January, students can as well move it to May or defer to September. So it's not one of those schools in Canada where you have just one start date. Then when students are not able to meet up, then they have to spend 1 full year back in their country. No, so students can always defer to the next intake. Our tuition is affordable, and we have a very flexible payment option for students. So during the course of this session, I'll be showing to us how flexible the payment option is and how affordable it is also. We have a very supportive career service. We have an experienced faculty. Then all our programs comes with the 3 years postgraduate work permit. So be it undergraduate program, be it postgraduate program, once students are through, they'll get the 3 years postgraduate work permit. Now, these are the places where we have our presence in. Now, we have a campus in Vancouver, in British Columbia. Have a campus in Vancouver, in British Columbia. We have a campus in Toronto, in Ontario, and we also have a campus in Fredericton, in New Brunswick. Now, for the purpose of study permits, then student needs to be sent to either the Vancouver or the Toronto campus, because basically all the programs we do in Fredericton happens to be online programs, and definitely, students will be able to get study permits. So for study permit issues, so it needs to go to either the Vancouver or the Toronto campus. And you believe me, Vancouver and Toronto happens to be the top leading cities when it comes to employment. Now, this is an overview of the campuses, overview of the cities. We see Toronto, we see Vancouver, we see how beautiful these places are. Now, for our Toronto campus, that's Steele's campus, these are the programs we have. We have Master in Business Administration, we have Bachelor in Business Administration in Project Management, and we also have Bachelor of Creative Arts. Why for our Vancouver, that's New Westminster campus, we have Bachelor in Business Administration, and it comes in 5 different specializations. We have the general, we have supply chain management, energy management, project management, we have accounting. So basically, when you think of business or management courses, then Yorkville comes to mind. So here in Yorkville University, all our programs are business and management programs for our students. Now, this is the BBA program, Bachelor of Business Administration, and these are the different programs and where we have them. For our Toronto campus, we have Bachelor of Business Administration in Project Management. While for our Vancouver, we have Bachelor of Business Administration, and it comes in different specializations. We have accounting, supply chain, energy management, project management, and general. So general, probably you want to just, you don't want to specialize, you just want to do Bachelor of Business Administration, cut across different specializations in it. You're not specializing, you're not doing one particular aspect, say you're not doing accounting, but you're doing general. That's that for you. But first, you want accounting, you want supply chain, and whichever one you want, we have that readily available for you in our Vancouver campus. Now, for our Bachelor of Business Administration, like I said earlier, this is an accelerated program. It's an industry recognized business administration program. So basically, we give our students career ready skills and certification prerequisites, which is needed to be able to launch these students to have a successful career in the global market. So this program actually is accredited, and it also serves as a stepping stone for students to be able to get any of all these other accreditations. So once students are through, they can go ahead to have any of all these accreditations. We have the CPA, that's the Chartered Professional Accountant. We have the CSCMP, Council of Supply Chain Management Professionals. We have CEM for them. We have CAPM, like that. So once students are through, so it's a stepping stone for students to be able to get other accreditations, other professional bodies, they join other professional bodies. Then students are being taught in very small classes. So in that way, students get enough support that they need. They can be able to speak with their lecturers one-on-one, speak with their course mates and the rest. So it's not one of those classes where so compact and the lecturers won't be able to control everything that's being done there. Then also this program comes with a 3 years postgraduate work permit. Once students are through, they'll get their 3 years postgraduate work permit. And like I said, within 2.5 years, students can finish up the program. We have different start dates, January, April, and October. Presently, our July is on hold, so we have January, April, and October. Then for the tuition, that's a 4-year program. All 4 years, tuition is 83,760, 83,760 Canadian dollars. Then we give students bursary of 24,760, 24,760 Canadian dollars. That's the bursary we give. So it brings down the tuition to 59,000 Canadian dollars for the whole 4 years, 59,000. So what we say basically is students can pay termly. So per term, students are supposed to pay 5,009 per term. In a term, you have 4 months, so students have to pay 5,900 per term, and then they spread it for 10 terms. So 5,900 per term for 10 terms, it becomes 59,000. So, for the tuition deposits, students are expected to pay 3,005 Canadian dollars tuition deposits. And once they make this payment, we have our in-house immigration team. So, what our in-house immigration team does is we help in assessment of student document they want to put in for visa application. So, what they do is we check, okay, are you fully ready to apply for your visa? We check your bank statements, how much you have in your bank statements. We check the statement of purpose. We practically help them check every document they want to put in for visa application. We are not IRCC, we do not give visa, but we do this just to curb the rate at which student gets visa denial. So we just help them basically to cross their T's, to dot their I's, just to make sure students are doing the right thing. Then we also have a very supportive finance advisors over there. So when students go over, they can also discuss with their financial advisors to say how they want to make their payment. So if it's monthly payment plan, they can afford. If it's termly, if it's yearly, so whichever one they can afford, they speak with their finance advisors. So invariably, 59 Canadian dollars per term. Then that means for a year, students expect to pay 17,007 per year, 17,700 per year for the undergraduate program. So for the admission requirements, we require transcripts from the 10th to the 12th year of studying. That's for the undergraduate students. So they are needed to submit their transcript from their 10th to the 12th year of their high school. And then we need their passports copy. And so basically their high school needs to be from C and above. So we want to see C, CB, CAs, so that's basically what we want to see. So 65% and above, that's C's, B's, and A's, mixture of everything. So maths is not required, but we need to say English. So the student needs to have done well in English. So at least a C in English. And we do not need English language proficiency. So English language proficiency is not needed in as much as the student transcript is in English. As much as your transcript is in English, we do not need you to do IELTS or any English language test. You're good to go with that. Now, for our BBA, that's our Bachelor in Business Administration program structure. These are the different curriculum for the students. So students will be undergoing 120 credits. Students will be having 40 courses, 31 business courses. We have 9 liberal arts courses. Students will be doing electives, taking electives from different departments also, and also a capstone project is also available for students. So it's a total package. So students are doing business administration and also taking electives from other departments as well. So this is the industry relevant curriculum, the core subject areas that students will be taking. So we have business fundamentals, we have strategic management, we have financial literacy, leadership and ethics, communication and team collaboration, applied business projects. So basically we teach our students the very needed courses that will make them to stand at par with every other student out there. So what is needed in the global market is what we inculcate into our curriculum just to make sure students don't float at the end of the day. So once they are through, they'll be able to find a place. So this brings us to the different career outcomes for our students. We want to ask, okay, so once students are through, what next with them? So because aside business, we teach our students every from other departments also, they take electives. So you find out that at the end of the day, students will be able to stand out, they'll be able to work in different organizations. We have them in financial services, IT services, we have them in manufacturing, healthcare, oil and gas, higher education, real estate, construction, and the like. So these are the different career outcomes for our students. So that's basically for our undergraduates. Now for our MBA program. So the only MBA program we have is Master of Business Administration. Like I said earlier, if you think of business program, management program, just think of Yorkville University because all our programs basically are business and management inclined. Now for our Master of Business Administration, our motto is lead with purpose, succeed with impact. Now, this particular program, our MBA program, we divided it into 2 different streams. So we have the business background and the non-business background. So basically, the business background is for those who did a degree in a business-related program. Take, for example, students who have a degree in Bachelor of Business Administration, accounting, economics, they all fall under the business background. Why? Those who did something totally different, let's say did something education line in the sciences, those ones are under the non-business background. So it's a way of saying whether you study business or not, you are welcome to come do an MBA program with Yorkville University. So the only difference is the period. This period both parties will be spending in school. For those who already have a business background, they'll be spending 4 terms in school. I remember I said in a term you have 4 months. So those who have a business background will be spending 16 months in school, while those who do not have a business background will be spending 5 terms in school. So 5 terms, that's 20 months in school. So basically, within less than 2 years, both parties will be able to finish up their program, and their tuition also varies. I'll show us a breakdown of it. So these other ones will be spending 5 terms, will be taking some foundation courses in the first year just to make them acquainted with what is needed in the business sector. Now, for the admission requirements, so we require bachelor's degree with GPA of 3.0 on a scale of 4.0 or 4.3. So we need a bachelor's degree with GPA of 3.0 on a scale of 4.0 or 4.3. So if it's a school, if your school uses a 5.0 grading scale, then that would say we need 3.5 and above. So basically first class and 2-1. So another beautiful thing is because we understand that there are some students who their first year they were struggling, second year struggling, then they tried picking up third and fourth year. So if the student was able to make this GPA last 2 sections. So we also consider such students also. Then aside that, if it's a 2-2 student, say the student made a 2.9 to 2.5 on a grading scale of 4.3, that's a 2-2. So such students can also apply, but the students will be needing a GMAT score. So such students will be needing a GMAT score on the scale of 550 and above. GMAT score will mark 550 and above, or if it's a GRE, the students can provide, then students would have made 157 quantitative reasoning, 157 verbal reasoning. So that aside, if it's greater than that, then students eligible to come in without GMAT, without GRE, they're good to go. Then we also need statement of purpose where students will be able to explain why they want to come in for the program, talk about themselves, what they've been doing and the likes. We need CV. We need 2 references, academic and professional, or if it's from same place, it's fine also. Like I said, students don't need to submit English language proficiency in as much as the transcript is in English. There's no age restriction, and also when it comes to gap in study, it's actually not an issue for us. So even if students have graduated from university for a very strong statement of purpose, because IRCC does not want to see gap in study. IRCC wants to see, oh, you graduated so year. What have you been doing right from when you graduated till now? So they don't want to see any gap. So you just try your possible best just to close all gaps for the sake of no restriction issues when it comes to gap in study or age restriction. You definitely get an offer. Every other documents are complete. And this is what I was explaining, that when students are needing a GMAT score. Now, for the tuition breakdown for students for remember I said 2 different stress background, business background. Remember I said they'll be 5 terms in school. Now, for the non is such a way credits. So Canadian dollars times 9. So immediately students are expected to pay 9,000 Canadian dollars. So if you times it with the amount of terms the students will be spending on campus times 5, so that is 47,000 program for non-business background. Now we went ahead to give the students bursary. So it's actually automatic. The bursary is automatic for international students. You don't need to do anything to get the bursary. So in as much as you're an international student, once you get the offer, it comes with it. Now, so for the non-business background, they have bursary of 10,000 Canadian dollars. So we went ahead to split this 10,000 into terms for them. So that means as against students paying 9,450 per term, they have bursary of 2,000, so which is being deducted. So meaning students are now meant to pay 7,450. So in essence, the gross tuition is 47,250. Then we give student bursary of 10,000 Canadian dollars. So it brings it down to 37,250. So for the whole program for have a non-business background, they will be paying 37,250. So for the first year, students expect to pay 22,350. By the subsequent year, they pay 14,900. So students invariably have to pay 7,450 per term. And remember, I said they can also speak to the finance advisors to say how they want their payment, monthly, quarterly, yearly, so whichever one works for them. So as they're working, they're schooling, they're finding a way to make payments and the rest. Why for those with a business background, remember it's going to be 4 terms for them. So meaning 7,450 for the 4 terms. So it brings it down to 29,800 because their gross tuition is 37,800 and they get scholarship of 8,000, which we had to split for the 4 terms. That's 2,000 for each term. So it brings it down to 29,800 Canadian dollars. So for the first term, students expect to pay 22,350, while the subsequent year they have to pay 7,450. Another beautiful thing is if the student is one that graduated from Yorkville University, probably student did his undergraduate at Yorkville University, now coming to do postgraduate at Yorkville University, is such a student who gets an additional 2,005 Canadian dollars off. So instead of paying 29,800, the student will get an additional 2,500. So it's a way of saying you graduated from Yorkville University, you did your undergraduate with us, now you're coming to do your master's with us. So as against the fee for business background, such a student will get an additional 2,005 off. And for the tuition deposit, students are expected to pay 5,000 Canadian dollars. 5,000 Canadian dollars tuition deposit. With that, to get the assessment from our in-house immigration team, and they'll be able to get their PAR and get their LOA. That's that. Then you want to ask what's the career outcome for this student. So basically, because students will be doing electives from different other departments, electives such as advanced data analytics. So when it comes to IT, students will be inclined in that. And when it comes to global business management, project management, and the like, students will be taking electives from other departments. So just to make sure they stand at par with what is needed in the global market. So in the long run, you find out that these students have different places where they can fit in the society. So when it comes to executive and strategic roles, they are good to go finance and investment roles, marketing and sales leadership roles. We have technology and innovation roles also for them. So even sustainability and responsible management roles for the students. So it's a program where students won't be left floating once they are through. Now, this is the highlight. This particular program, this MBA program, is in our Toronto campus, downtown Toronto. And the program runs from 16 to 24 months, depending on the stream the student is coming in for. We have 3 intakes, January, May, and September. We accept 3-year degree certificates. So if it's a school that, we have some schools where they obtain their degree within 3 years. So we accept such certificates in as much as the school is accredited, because our admissions advisors will always look out for schools, will always check if it's from an accredited body. So in as much as accredited, they're good to go, it's fine. And with 29,800 students with a business background will be able to have an MBA with us, while with 37,250 students with a non-business background will be able to have their MBA with us. And it comes with a 3 years postgraduate work permit. And students can also go alongside with their dependents for our MBA program. So they can go with their dependents, their spouse can get the open spousal work permit, and 5,000 Canadian dollars, students will be able to get their LOA and also get their PAR. Then talked about the different bursary for students and all. Then I would say Yorkville University is a total package on its own. We are always here to assist students, right from when students put in an application. So when they go over there, we're always there to assist. So we also have a counseling team. We have a counseling students want to speak to a counselor, they are bored, they are anxious, feeling one issue or the other. We have a counseling team where they can speak to. We have the finance advisors I've been talking about. When it comes to how someone wants to make their payment, they can always liaise with them. We have our career services where students can speak to them when it comes to getting support, when it comes to job search. Our student services also is there. Right from the point when students gain an offer to your university, the first page of the offer letter is an admissions advisor's email there. So, and every student have their own designated admissions advisor. So they can always call, send an email when they need to navigate their way, when there's one issue or the other. So it's a total package. It's a total package. And our turnaround time, within a week, students will get an offer from us. There are no issues at all. So we are here to fully support our students all the way. So I'll be stopping here now. If you have any questions, if there's anything you need me to throw more light on, can just ask your questions. Thank you.
Very much, Goodness. I think that was very clear and helpful. And now we would like to open the session for questions. And have any questions about Yorkville University programs, admission, fees, or anything else, please feel free to type your question in the chat box right now. And Goodness, while we wait for questions from audience, I think I have some few questions here that students usually ask, and you've covered almost everything, but I still need you to stress on one or two points. The first question has to do with postgraduate work permits. Does Yorkville University help students get postgraduate work permits after finishing their?
Yes, please. So we have our student services that helps us with that. So once students are through, they can make use of any of our student services. So we have our career services. So once students are through, because our programs comes with the 3 years postgraduate work permit. So students don't have issues getting postgraduate work permits. Once they are through, they apply for it and they get it. So firstly, is about if the program comes with the 3 years postgraduate work permit, because not all programs comes with that. So firstly, our program comes with a 3 years postgraduate work permit. So first of all, students are covered. So before they even put in the application. So yes, student gets the postgraduate work permit.
And my second question has to do with the tuition fee for international students. And I still need you to stress on the scholarship available and the discounts available for international students.
Okay, so for the undergraduates, the total tuition students are expected to pay for the undergraduates is 83,760. It's a 4-year program, so students are expected to pay 83,760 Canadian dollars for the whole 4 years. But as international students, we give to them scholarship of 24,760. So it brings it down to 59,000 Canadian dollars. So for a year, that's about 17,700. So it's automatic. Students don't need to do anything to get it. So in as much as the international students applying, it comes with their offer. Why for the master students, the tuition for those who do not have a business background, the gross tuition is 47,250, and they get scholarship of 10,000 Canadian dollars. So it comes down to 37,250. Why for those who do have a business background, their gross tuition is 37,800, and we give them scholarship of 8,000. So it brings it down to 29,800. So basically, those are the available scholarships for students. Thank you.
My next question, can students work while studying? How many hours are they allowed?
Okay, so based on IRCC law, students while on campus can work for, while school is on section, students can work for 24 hours. So students are allowed to work for 24 hours while school is on section, but when school is not on section, they can work for as much as 40 hours per week. So 24 hours, that's 24 hours per week. While school is on section, students, that's the valid time for students to work. So while school is not in section, they can now work for as much as 40 hours per week.
And last question, what kind of support do you give international students, like help with housing, health insurance, or settling?
Okay, so basically, because we have different student support services, so the kind of support we give, first of all, before students even come on board, we have an in-house immigration team that helps us in checking their documents before they apply for visa, just to make sure international students are getting it right when it comes to visa. Then we also have our career service also that helps out when it comes to job search. So career services is there to help them out when it comes to job search. Now, when it comes to housing, we do not have an in-house, we don't have the conventional dormitories that most universities do have, but we partner with First Day. So we partner with First Day, and First Day, what we do is we help students at the point where student gets an offer. The link is already there. We put the link for them on their offer letter, so where they can check to see different accommodations within the school vicinity, that's outside campus, so which is close by to the school, where they can pick whichever one they want. So those are the supports we give. We do not have in-house dormitories, conventional dormitories, but outside the school. So we help in supporting students to get that. We help in supporting students in checking their documents. We are not IRCC that gives visa, but we just help just to make sure students are doing it the right way, help cross the T's, dot the I's, and then career services also when it comes to job search. So basically, those are the supports we give to international students. Thank you.
If anyone else has any question, you can type in the chat box. There are no more questions. I think you have to call it a day. Thank you so much, Goodness, for taking the time to explain everything so clearly. We appreciate it. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today and for your attention. And I hope you now have a better understanding of why many students choose Yorkville University. But then if you still have any question, feel free to reach out to us anytime. We're happy to help. And then before we end, I want to remind you that our team is always ready to support you with your application to Yorkville University through Apply Board. And then thank you once again for being part of today's session. Wish you all the best with your plans.
All right. Thank you very much. All right now.
I think someone has a question. Someone has a question over here. Do you give full scholarship to international students?
Okay, so not just about Yorkville University, but Canada. Canada does not give full scholarship to international students. You can't get full scholarships. Full scholarship is meant for their students, meant for their citizens, not us. You can't get full scholarship. So the only kind of scholarships you get are the ones that I just listed out. You can get some percentage off, a particular amount off. So that's what you can always get. Okay.
Right, Jan has a question. Right, type in the chat box if you have any question. Okay, so he's asking, so do I have to pay any deposit before I come, or how am I going to cover the deficit? I think he wants to know more about the tuition deposit.
Okay, so I said for undergraduate students, tuition deposit is 3,500, while for postgraduate students, tuition deposit is 5,000 Canadian dollars. So those are the deposits you need to pay for you to apply for visa.
Undergrad is 3,500 Canadian dollars.
Yes.
And then it is 5,000 Canadian dollars.
Yes.
Is there any question? Please type in the chat box if you have any question. Okay. So if there are no more questions, I think we have to call it a day. Thank you once again for being part of today's session. And wish you all the best with your study plans. Have a great day.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.